So some decent weather over the weekend meant that I could get back to another boot sale. Now I've binned off my Saturday boot sale because it's just a little bit too busy, far too many resellers, you know the type, big bag for life over your shoulder, young about town, shorts, running around the place trying to find the bargains. Generally me, maybe not young so much, but still, you can tell a reseller, or at least I can anyway, from a mile away. I mean, now and again, maybe I'll get the odd one wrong, and I'll use the term reseller loosely. Someone who is looking to flip things for a profit, someone who's looking to find some stuff on the cheap that they can trade to CEX to build a video game collection, for example. Those type of people is what I'm talking about. And in my Sunday boot sale that I went to, I saw one that really got me, so not questioning, but just, I don't know, I had a few questions. I'd love to have asked him, but I didn't. I didn't film him either because I thought that was a little bit inappropriate. But we are going to talk about the deal that he picked up. Was it worth it? Because personally, I don't think it was. And it's something that I looked at. I got there first and I decided against it almost straight away. Now here is the clip.
Enjoy very much. Sell the week for 15.
15. So I walk up to this box. It's got a Wii. You can see all the connectors plugged into the back. It's got a couple of games. The Wii Sports sleeve had Wii Play in it. There was a Wii Play game in there. Don't know what was in it. Didn't open it. And of course Harry Potter. Now I'm looking at this. She said 15 quid. I'm thinking, no. Straight away, I know how much I'm willing to pay for this before I've even looked at what's in it. I can see it's a Wii. Before I looked at anything, I'm not going more than 10 quid. 10 quid, and I may take this off your hands. I'm looking at the games. It's basically shovelware. I'm still at 10. She said 15. Not even willing to barter at that point, because even at 15, if I'd said 10, chances are she would have come back with 12 or 13 or just no in general. So I left it. I go to walk away, and I'm with my wife, and she goes to look at something else that's literally like right next door. So I'm stood there and I'm waiting for her to finish, and I see someone from behind me who was waiting for me to finish. He moves in and he starts looking. She then, you know, gives her a little spiel again. Everything in the box, love, 15 quid. He's then looking through it. He's got that bag for life over his shoulder. He looks quite young. He's got maybe like, I don't know, he's got something in the bag. Maybe it's a pair of shoes or something. And I'm instantly looking at him, and just from experience, I'm thinking he's probably a reseller, or at least newly started reselling, because he took a lot of time to go through this box. Whereas most people who are seasoned professionals would be able to just look at this and go, right, it's a Wii, some shovelware. It had a controller and a nunchuck at the bottom. It wasn't Wii Motion Plus inside or anything, just the basic stuff. A couple of marks on the console. Maybe the wires are in good condition. Maybe they weren't. I would have looked at this more had I been interested after the price was given. But he had the price and he kept looking. He looked at all the discs, which is something that maybe I should have done. But I talked about this in last week's video. Don't dwell on one particular stall looking for value if you actually don't think there's any value there. So in this instance, I'm thinking there's not really an awful lot in this for me. I'm not going to sit here and try and convince myself that this is a good deal. Just because it's a console and just because it's like video game related, you don't often see video game stuff in boot sales that much these days still there before people have picked over it. Doesn't mean you have to find value in it. It doesn't mean I have to buy this. Just because I found it doesn't mean I have to take it home. But this guy was doing that, and you could see the cogs turning. You could see he was trying to justify 15 quid for this, and I was stood there and I was thinking, don't buy it, or at least shoot an offer. Say 10, and if they say 12, it's not the end of the world. Paying full £15 for this, it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, I go through my old checklist. Do I know it's working? No. How much can I sell a broken Wii for? Are the games worth anything? Well, no, I don't know if it's working. A broken Wii sells for less than nothing, and shovelware on the Wii is very, very difficult to get rid of. What's the worst case scenario? Let's look at the worst case first. You always have to look at the worst case. The console's not working, the Wii remote is corroded. That's the most common thing to happen with Wiis if they're not working. So the console by itself, if it's broken, pointless. You're going to have to wait until you have a bundle of broken machines to bundle them together before you can ship that on. And it's the same with the Wii remote. No one's going to buy it broken by itself for anything more than a couple of pounds. It's pointless. The shovelware, again, you're going to have to write that off. Maybe Wii Sports you could eke 5 quid out of if it's there. I couldn't see it. You're hoping it's in the machine. Maybe the machine's broken and it doesn't eject. You just don't know. We're looking at the worst case here. So there's no Wii Sports. So you've got Wii Play, you've got Harry Potter. Both of those games together, you might be lucky to get a couple of pounds out of them, but you'll be be waiting a long time for someone to actually give you £2 for those. Maybe you'd have to go back and do a boot sale in order to get rid of them. So then you're looking at breaking down what is there. Power supply, AV cable, sensor bar. Let's assume there's no breaks in the cable and that they're all working, even though we are looking at worst case. Generally speaking, they will probably be working. Well, you might be able to get £8 after fees, if you're lucky, for that set. You used to be able to get 10 plus. Now it's less and less. In fact, you may even be looking at a fiver. But just, you know, to make it a little bit better, we'll say £8. So if this is all knackered, essentially, you might get £8 back. You've then lost half your money. But if that's the worst case, I'm only going to lose £8. What is the best case? Well, the best case is you can sell all this for about 20 to 25. I really don't, unless there's something phenomenal inside the Wii. Maybe there's a game in that Wii Play case that is Fire Emblem or some really expensive, you know, disc only type thing. Then yeah, fine, you'll make a lot of money off it, but that's highly unlikely, right? So best case, best realistic case, Wii Sports is in the console, Wii Play you put back in its case, and then you've got Harry Potter, Wii Play and Wii Sports, all with their original cases, working Wii, controller with a clean battery compartment, no breaks in any of the cables, £25. Absolute maximum. You will not get more than that unless you somehow manage to con someone. I've sold many a Wii, even up until recently. I picked up a massive bundle, and if you've watched any of the series videos, you'll have seen this in the past. Earlier this year, I picked up a huge bundle of Wii consoles. I must have had about 7 consoles in this thing. Managed to complete them all. Some of them were working, some of them weren't. Didn't sell any one of those for more than £25. And the ones I did sell for 25 were in really good condition with Wii Sports and a couple of other games as well. So that's why I'm kind of putting £25 on this as an absolute maximum. And you can sell it on Vinted and you won't pay fees, which is quite nice. But that's £10 profit if everything goes your way. And you will need everything to go your way. Well, to cut what could possibly be an even longer story short, he bought it and he walked away. I don't know what happened then, whether it was working or what was in the console or not. Obviously, I didn't stop and speak to him or anything. It's not really my place. I don't want to stick my nose in where it's not wanted. But for me, I was looking at that thinking, if he's buying that for himself and it's going to go into his collection and it is working, £15, it's not bad. In my opinion, add an extra fiver, go on Vinted, you might be able to find the console and some games for about £20 and better games at that. And then you've got the added security of if this thing turns up and it's not working, you can always say, well, it's not working, I'm going to return it. And you'll probably be able to get your money back. And in some cases on Vinted, you might even be able to keep the item and have your money back, because that has happened to me before. However, with a boot sale, it's very much international waters. Once that sale is complete, the seller is under no obligation whatsoever, working, not, changed your mind or not, it's irrelevant, to get your money back. You can argue till you're blue in the face, but they can just pretend they don't even know you. And what can you really do in a boot sale? Nothing. And it's kind of the same with Facebook Marketplace as well. So just be careful when it comes to that kind of thing. For me, what would it have taken for me to be able to buy this? Well, if I'd gone and she said, oh, you can have that box for a tenner, then I'm thinking, right, I'm going to walk away with this because I think my money is basically safe. But the other thing, of course, is the best way to learn in this business is to make mistakes. In all honesty, you can sit there and watch as many YouTube videos as you want and learn that way, and you will pick things up, but until you make the mistake yourself, it won't be ingrained. You know, you might watch a video and think, oh, hang on a minute, I didn't know that was worth money, I'll look out for that next time. But there's really different variants of that item. There's going to be good condition, bad condition. You're not going to know the difference between the two until you buy it and you learn for yourself. And that is a lesson here for this guy who bought this. Let's just assume for a second he's new to this whole reselling flipping game. He's been watching videos like this on YouTube and he's decided to try and build a video game collection or continue his video game collection without spending any money out of pocket. He wants to buy this Wii, he wants to sell it for a profit, he's going to use the profit to buy video games. Let's just assume for a second that that's what he's planned to do. But he's never really done it before. He's going to buy this Wii now for £15. He's going to go home and he's going to realise the profit margin, not great. He may also realise this doesn't work, and people in boot sales tell fibs every now and again, and even though she said yes, everything is working, it may not be, and that is a lesson learned. He may have had to have spent £15 to learn the lesson, but he won't make that mistake again. And that is how I know what I know, and how I knew when I sort of bent down to have a look at that, how much I was willing to pay, because I've made that mistake. I've been where that guy was. I've spent 15, 20 quid on a bundle, got it home, and the majority of it doesn't work. Things are missing. And that's why I'll never make that mistake again. And that's why I didn't buy that for 15. The margin wasn't there, and you don't know if it's working or not. It's a shame he's going to have to have spent 15 quid to learn the lesson. And to be fair, if he gets home and there's a decent like first party title in the system, you know, like a Mario Party 8 or even a new Super Mario Brothers, and then he opens up the Wii Play case and Wii Sports is in there, he's not going to have learned the lesson, because he's going to have done well out of this. He may even turn that 15 into 35 if there's a decent game in the machine, and that is the gamble. But as far as I'm concerned, I think you need to do a little bit of research before you go to these boot sales on consoles and accessories in particular. You can look it up when you're there, but there's going to be so many people crowding around this type of thing, you're not going to have that much time to make your decision. And in this particular boot sale, I don't know what it is, but the signal is horrendous. Let me know in the comments if you've run into any of those problems, whether you've learned a very valuable lesson but you've had to pay for it, because that is the biggest thing I can say to beginners. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but also don't be afraid to barter. Just because they say 15 quid, what harm is it in saying, would you take 10? If she says no, she says no. It's not the end of the world. She might come back and say, oh, I'll do 12. You've saved £3. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you do that 10 times, that's 30 quid. That's 2 free boxes of Wiis with games. So it does pay, literally, to barter with people. Just throw out a little offer. Oh, would you do 10? Would you take 12? Even if it's 14. I mean, I wouldn't, but, you know, 14, it's £1 saved. 10 times is 10 quid. That is literally a pumpkin spice latte and a cinnamon bun. And I love cinnamon buns. I'll be back with a series video in just a day or two. If you want to check out a video from that series, you can click here. And until the next time, goodbye.